Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 27th of July, 2025. Coming up to this episode of the Crusty podcast, episode 378, Permits to Pray. That's right. A Christian rocker from the United States is up here in Canada doing his tour for spreading his words, and our governments are giving him a hard time. Test, Canadian government. All that and more coming up the show. Please stick around. Listener and viewer discretion is advised because I will swear, smoke cigarettes, and speak my mind on the fallacies of our ignorant government. Alrighty. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 378, the Crusty podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and this episode is brought to you in part by Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, Veterans for Freedom Stand 2. And coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Hope you've had a pretty good week so far. I know I've been a busy lad, had a lot of issues to deal with at work, getting bills squared away and all that too. And just remember to click like, subscribe, share this podcast, all of your social media platforms. Do not be shy, ladies and gentlemen. Do what you can. Help us Canucks get our words out there in a timely manner. So, like the headlines that have happened today, oh my goodness, there's all this garbage going on in regards to freedom of religion, freedom of expression. There's an individual that come up from the States. He's had some trouble getting shows and getting things done. Basically spreading a gospel, you've heard me enough times on this show, ladies and gentlemen, where I'm not a religious man. I'm not. I gave up on religion a very, very long time ago for personal reasons and for contradictions, but I'm not condemning anybody who is Christian. I'm not condemning anybody who is Muslim. I'm not condemning anybody who's Jewish, Buddhist. Hell, I'll even give a break to Scientologists once in a while too. Right? Not that I want to, but that's a different story. But I look at religion as a guiding light for some people who have needed it over the years. And there's people that I've known throughout my military career, before my military career, during and after my military career, where they relied on a gospel, they relied on God or Jesus, or whatever they believed in, to pull them through some rough times. Now, when you actually look at certain Christian principles and Muslim principles and Jewish principles, they all say the same thing, where just do your best to be good to people. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Just try to be an all-around decent human being, okay? And us atheists or non-believers, we believe in the same thing too. It has nothing to do with how much faith you have in this deity or that deity. How much faith do you have in people, okay? I like to have faith in people to my best ability, regardless of how many times I've tried to keep it together. Things like this still drive me nuts. Okay. And I'm just going to read a little background on this individual. Correct me if I'm wrong, especially to my American audience out there. A man by the name of Sean Feucht. Sean Feucht is a far-right Christian musician who heavily supports the Republican Party and Donald Trump, is having a hard time booking shows in Canada. This week, venues in 6 Canadian cities canceled Feucht's performances, citing community opposition and public safety concerns. Now, when you ban somebody from a venue, whether it be comedy, music, art, okay, and you throw in the word safety in there, safety, oh, we can't have this artist here because of safety. It's bullshit. Okay, it's bullshit. It's not about safety. It's about personal feelings. Okay. I've told you in a few episodes before, back a while, how I was let go from a job. Okay. Because someone didn't feel safe with my words. Oh my goodness. What are we supposed to do? Get a fucking backbone. That's what you're supposed to do. Right. But that's just me. Anyhow, I've got some articles here I'll read along, and I got some video of Mr. Feucht, who is being interviewed by the CBC. Now, when I put this video on, ladies and gentlemen, Okay, I really, really want you to listen to the background. And there's a great commentary from a French Canadian in Montreal giving the CBC proper shit, and it's brilliant. It's only about a 40-second video, but when I do put it up, please listen to it. But I'm going to ramble on here more about the whole issue when it comes to people preaching a gospel. Now, it's a simple thing. It's a simple matter. If you don't tolerate any kind of gospel, any kind of religious preaching, you as a Canadian and as an American and anybody living in a democracy, you don't have to listen to it. You don't have to adhere to it. You don't have to buy it. No one's forcing you to sit and watch televangelism like they did in the 80s. And I think some of my viewers out there, especially with some of my American viewers, remember Jerry Farwell? Remember that ass clown? And you remember Jimmy Swaggart? Oh, I've sinned you. Oh, I've sinned you. And he was caught with hookers and blow. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. You weren't doing that for the Lord, were you? You poor son of a bitch. Right. But we all made fun of it and we all had a laugh at it. Okay. Because we knew the contradictions. But in the same sense, I grew up with people that were devout Christians. I went to school, I played hockey, baseball, soccer, lacrosse. I served in the military with a lot of good people that were fundamental Christians. Some were Catholic, some were Anglican, some were Presbyterian, some found God again after some miracle. Okay, good for them. If that light works for you, if that pathway works for you as an individual, go for it. I'm not going to condemn you for being a Christian or a Muslim or Jewish or a Buddhist or, like I said, a Scientologist. Right? Xenu. But I just laugh at how the CBC and how mainstream media and how some of our politicians are ignoring what's going on here. Okay? How our politicians are ignoring the simple fact that we have freedom of religion in this country, because for the longest time, the Trudeau government was always pushing the whole being inclusive and don't hate Muslims, don't hate this, don't be an Islamophobe. Don't be an Islamophobe. You question this, don't be so phobic about it. And now we're seeing as plain as day how biased we are towards Christians now. Why is that? Why are we showing some kind of bias to this? Why is it okay to chastise a Christian? Why is it okay to chastise anybody outside of the so-called new status quo? Right? I'm not finding any kind of progress here. And I'm sure you, my wonderful audience, will not find progress when it comes to anybody being chastised for their faith. I thought we were supposed to get over that hump when it comes to being more tolerant since the whole progressive or political correction, since the whole political correct model reared its ugly head back in the early 90s, right? We can honestly see contradictions. Do as we say, not as we do. Rules for thee, none for me. We're all seeing it. And it's going to have to stop. It's going to have to stop pretty fucking soon.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 378, the Crusty Canuck podcast. Permits to pray. That's right. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. If you'd like to hear or see, click like, subscribe, share this podcast all over your social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be shy. Let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. If you see this on the Tube or Rumble, please give me some comments too. And to people out there that keep soliciting me for viewership and all this great stuff, no, I don't want your stinking lame service to bots. Anyhow, carrying on with this episode. So, Canada has principles when it comes to freedom of speech. It's in our charter. It is freedom of expression. And freedom of expression is just as valuable as freedom of speech. You're allowed to express yourself. You're allowed to worship and pray to whatever you want to. Okay. And regardless of the trend right now, where it's okay to disenfranchise Christians, okay, but welcome this religion over that religion, you're no better than the tyrants who have condemned religions to begin with. Okay. So we can sit here all day and talk about the pros and cons of this faith and the pros and cons of that faith when it comes to a matter of just fucking growing up, okay, and tolerating. When you talk about progress and tolerance, then you should exemplify that. by being tolerant and progressing. If you don't want someone to play a concert in this park, then don't go to that park. Let that park carry on its business. Parks Canada has weighed in on this Mr. Sean Feucht guy too. And I've actually heard a bit of his music, and he's just preaching the gospel. Regardless of who he voted for in the last American election, regardless what his points of view are when it comes to the whole alphabet 2 plus this, whatever, sideways come Tuesday, it doesn't matter. If you can't handle knowing that someone's playing a show in a venue that has nothing to do with you, if you can't handle that, then that's not a test of your freedom or your safety. It's a matter of your goddamn character. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with your safety or community concerns. It's bullshit. And the leaders that be and the powers that be that are stopping this individual from doing his work and stopping individuals from seeing his work, you're not standing up for freedom. You're not standing up for tolerance. You're being a bunch of administrative bullies, a bunch of crybabies. Now, apparently this Mr. Fuchs guy has had some trouble in Montreal. He was playing in a church, a place of worship. Okay? And Montreal wants him to pay a permit. A permit. I remember going to church dances when I was a kid. There was no fucking permits. They had bands there. They had DJs there. You didn't need a permit. Just a church opening up to the youth. Right? But that's what happens when you get more government getting involved. Now, I'm going to play this video here and I'm going to read some articles. It's only about 40 seconds, but you can see Alexa Lavoie from Rebel Media there. And listen to the heckler, okay? Really listen to the heckler when he's chewing out the CBC. It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting what happens here. But I'll just cue this up for you, ladies and gentlemen, and you decide. Think for yourselves, right? I present to you, submitted for your approval, my wonderful audience. And I want you guys to think for yourselves about what this, how the CBC is really beginning to roll again, okay? How the CBC just doesn't.
It's because you don't have the permit to have the concert.
I don't think you need a permit to worship in a church. Last time I checked, you don't need a permit to worship.
Freedom, Radio Canada. It's religious freedom. You know that?
Yeah.
Religious freedom. You don't need a permit to worship. Radio Canada.
Well, you have to research your laws on that.
My
but, you know,
it's incredible.
Worshiping in a church, I don't believe you need a permit for that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That is because you don't have the permit to have the concert.
I don't think you need a permit to worship in a church. Last time I checked, you don't need a permit to worship.
Freedom, Radio Canada. It's religious freedom. You know that?
Yeah.
Religious freedom. You don't need a permit to worship. Radio Canada.
Well, you have to research your laws on that. But, you know,
it's incredible.
Worshiping in a church, I don't believe you need a permit for that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That is
really, honestly. Like, I'm assuming you heard that. Okay. That Radio Canada reporter, yeah, you need a permit, huh? And the other French Canadians say, no, we got freedom of religion. You're way off. Like, well done. Well done. Okay. That's the arrogance we have to deal with, not just in the government aspect, but in the media aspect. Radio Canada, you just shot yourself in the foot. How does it feel? How does it feel? Right? And regardless if you agree with this individual or not, who are you to dictate what gets said and what not said? Who are you to dictate who gets to preach, who doesn't get to preach? Right? The last time I was in a church, it was at a wedding. Right? And it was a good wedding. I don't get creeped out by going to churches. I don't get creeped out or freaked out if I have a conversation with a Christian. Last summer, I remember Jehovah's Witnesses coming over to my place. You know how they do it. They knock on doors every Saturday. They talk to people. And I had no problem talking with them. Probably the first time in my life where I actually sat and had a good conversation with Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I may disagree with their format. I may disagree with how they convolute and how they pray, but that doesn't mean they can't do it. I'm not going to enforce any kind of law or any kind of bylaw or encourage any kind of hatred towards them. They're doing their thing. That's their thing. Same as Mormons, same as Catholics, same as Anglicans, same as Sunni Muslims, same as Shiite Muslims, Same as New Order Jewish, Old Order Jewish, Orthodox, non-Orthodox. It doesn't matter. We're supposed to have the freedom of religion in this country, regardless of who visits, regardless of who has a point of view or not. You're supposed to have the freedom to drink, gather, dance, marry, pray to whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter. Like I said, we tolerate Scientologists. Why can't we tolerate Christians? And I think the majority of Canadians were raised on Judeo-Christian principles. Do not steal, do not lie, do not cheat, do not covet thy neighbor's wife or girlfriend or whatever his or her lover may be. Just try to be a decent fucking man and decent woman. Just try to be decent people and get points of view back and forth, right? I've met some Muslims in my life, in my career, that were just brilliant human beings. And they didn't beat their wives. They didn't make them dress up into some kind of headdress. They never mistreated their children. They were just good people because they chose to be good people. See, you can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Jew, Scientologist, and you can be a Buddhist, and you can be an atheist, and still be a decent human being. What's good for you may not be good for them. What's good for them may not be good for you. But hey, you can still see eye to eye in principles of freedom. Freedom to be. Freedom to choose. Just freedom just to be alive and to be thankful for simple things. But of course, we got more clowns in the circus, and the circus is working overtime. Right back after this.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 378, the Crusty Canuck podcast. Permits to pray. That's right. License, no license. Oh, my God. Now, here is an interesting article that came from the Toronto Sun there today. And I'm going to put on something about Blarney Carney talking about certain Muslim values here. Now, once again, I'm not disenfranchising anybody of any faith. But if you use your faith as a tool to hurt people, then maybe you should get a different faith. That's just me, though. Anyhow, here's an article from the Toronto Sun, and I will read this to the best of my ability. And I'll leave this in my description for you, ladies and gentlemen, too, for you to decide, right? But we're just seeing the bias on full spin here on how some of these individuals think that because they hold some kind of moral compass that they should enforce it on you too. Funny how the church used to do that so many years ago. Interesting, eh? Anyhow, this comes from yesterday from Brian Lilly of the Toronto Sun there, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to read along, read along. But I'll leave this article in my description for you. CBC pushes left-wing political values in effort to cancel Christian singer. Okay, but the public broadcaster's news coverage of the MAGA musician has instead made Sean Feucht a much bigger celebrity in Canada. And really, I just showed you the video there from Alexa Lavoie. Good job on her. So CBC went on a religious war against a Christian singer this past week in an effort to cancel his concerts. Instead, CBC raised the profile of Sean Feucht in Canada and showed just how politicized their news coverage has become. It started several days ago as Canada's public broadcaster went wall-to-wall with coverage of Feucht's show in Halifax. They described him repeatedly as a MAGA musician and then made it clear to their readers and viewers that Feucht holds views that no Canadian should welcome. Yes, you will not agree with this person, jawohl. You will take the shot and enjoy the music we provide for you, jawohl. Sean Feucht is a religious singer from the U.S. who has expressed anti-diversity, anti-2S LGBTQ+, and anti-women's rights views on his platforms. Read one story about his original venue in Halifax being canceled. That's the thing, too. They've canceled him a few times already, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Other media outlets joined in the pile-on, simply describing Feucht as a MAGA and therefore unacceptable. We do not need to tell you more than that. We've already told you that he likes the bad orange man in the White House. Ban him, right? That's just so childish. Now, there's a picture here of some anti-fascist, Antifa wanker or wankette, whatever, however they may identify. I don't really care, right? They were protesting in Montreal against him at a church. Like, really, they threw a smoke bomb in a church. It wasn't an actual bomb. It was just one of those smoke containers you can find at parades and shit, right? But it's just, my God, it's just some of these people and their parents. Their parents must be so proud of them. The original venues for all 6 concerts cancel on him, some reportedly keeping the fees he already paid. Wow, pay to play too, eh? And then you rip them off. Feucht may not be a household name in Canada, but he has played and toured here many times, and he quickly found new venues. The media hype about the dangers of allowing a Christian rocker to perform here kept up when he played Montreal on Friday night. Radical protesters show up and try to forcibly shut down the show. So much for inclusion, eh? You Antifa weirdos. Okay. CBC quoted a spokesperson for Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante saying they believe in freedom of expression, but not for this guy. You can speak your mind. You can speak your mind, but you? No, not a chance, pal. No, you just pay up. Oh, my God. Freedom of expression is one of our fundamental values, but hateful and discriminatory speech is not accepted in Montreal. Oh, my goodness. And as other Canadians said, this show will not be tolerated. Okay. That Catherine Cadeau told the CBC. Okay. Now, the mayor's office tried to shut down the show even after it moved from a municipal venue to a church. And the city is now threatening to fine that church. Where have we seen that before? Something to do with the jibby jabs? People praying? Right? I don't recall them shutting down mosques during the pandemic. That's a different story. Okay. They claimed Feucht didn't have a permit to play and it wouldn't be allowed to go forward. A claim CBC dutifully put the singer as he spoke with media ahead of the show. Quote unquote, it's because you don't have a permit, that CBC or Radio-Canada journalist stated to Feucht on the issue of why some wanted his show shut down. Okay. You don't need a permit to play in a church, as far as I know. Saying that's the thing. So that's part of the story there, ladies and gentlemen. What I will do is I will leave this article in my description, and you guys can read it and discuss amongst yourselves. Okay. Like I said, freedom of speech, paramount. Freedom of expression, paramount. Freedom of religion, paramount. Freedoms in general, paramount. Okay. So regardless of what the Montreal mayor says, Valérie and her ignoramus comments, okay, and that Radio-Canada reporter, okay, you saw it right there in that video. You don't have a permit. Fuck the permits. We got too many permits as it is, right? Permits for this, permits for that. More government creeping in our lives again, right? More government telling us what to think, what to do, how to pick our nose, how to blow our nose, how to fart in the wind. Oh my, yes. Oh my God. I can ramble on for hours about this. I can ramble on for the amount of times that we've dealt with people that want to censor, okay? Now, as far as I know, the guy's a talented musician, right? And if he doesn't agree with a certain lifestyle, well, so be it. Who cares? Is your lifestyle compromised, Montreal? Because you got a Christian rock star singing in a church? Why not? What's wrong with that? The reason he's touring Canada is because he's got a fan base here. Or he's branching out. He wants to make some money. Hey, Christians are allowed to make money too. Muslims make money. Jewish people make money. Buddhists make money. Atheists make money. Why can't Christians make money too? What's wrong with that? Let them preach your gospel. Let everyone preach their gospel. Right? But the moment they use their religion as a tool to hurt or kill people, then maybe they should get a new religion. Did you ever think of that possibility? Look at these activists. Look at what their religion is. They're against fascism, yet they're promoting it with fascism. We're going to protest you. We're going to shut you down because we don't like what you have to say. Well, then you don't have to fucking listen. It's that simple. But no, they got to take a simple thing and become professional victims and say, oh my, your words are so unsafe. No backbone. I guess your parents must be proud, eh, Antifa? I guess your parents must be really proud, right? No, I'll tell you again, some people's kids, right? Like I say, I can go on for hours about this shit. But it's just, it's just ridiculous how it works. You know, right back after this.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 378, Permits to Pray. That's right. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. If you like to hear us, ladies and gentlemen, please click like, subscribe. Do not be shy. Let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you like and hear what you see. And if you want to donate, please, links will be in the description too. All the more, the merrier. I'm actually working on a new format here on how to earn some money. I've tried the Buy Me a Coffee app. I've tried the Patreon. I've tried all these fly-by-night great things. And I get so sick and tired of the administrative BS that goes with it. So I'm looking for another platform. So if you want to donate to the podcast, please, the more the merrier. Things are tight for me. Like I mentioned a few episodes back, how the government's taking a good chunk of my paycheck every 2 weeks, or correction, yeah, every 2 weeks, to pay back taxes, apparently over some bad filing issues I had a few years ago. Anyway, it's their math versus my real math, and they just won't budge. So if you want to donate, please donate, ladies and gentlemen, if you can. I'm not asking for thousands upon thousands. That would be nice, but if I want to do that, I'll have to do an OnlyFans page. I don't want to do that. Anyway, carrying on. So here is something that our Prime Minister, Mr. Blarney Carney, has said about a certain religion. Okay. And I'll leave an article in the description for this too. Ladies and gentlemen, you can decide at your own leisure what he says about this certain faith. And like I say, I want you all to think for yourselves, and you make a sound decision based on what I presented to you and based on your own research, ladies and gentlemen, because it's the best thing we do is think for ourselves. Okay. And do not let the CBC bog us down and tell us what we should think. Okay. And I'll play this along for you. So I'll put the captions up too for you. And you decide.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values. For all of us must come together around the values of Eid, the values of community, of generosity, and yes, of sacrifice. These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values. And I may say it should resonate with all Canadians. The lessons and values of Eid are the same. Canada, our Canada, is a diverse country. Proud home to different languages, different beliefs, different cultures. Those are differences that make us unique.
Now, different values, different beliefs, that's excellent, right? That's always good to have different values and different beliefs. I just mentioned that. But when you go out of your way to stop somebody because they have certain beliefs, then you're not as diverse as you say, right, Marty Carney? Not diverse as you say. You're not preaching the gospel. Now, there's also a question there, too. After the so-called discovery of so many misplaced persons from the Kamloops residential school, there was no proof that they were actually there. And yet, how many churches burnt thereafter? So when you talk about Canada being diverse and being multifaceted, then you allow all religions to practice and worship and pray. All of them, not just what you think is right or what's gonna gain you votes, okay? That's just one Canuck to another Canuck. Simple principles of being good to people, standing up for what's right, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of expression. That's paramount. That's what I fought for. That's what my brothers fought for. That flag you see behind me there, the maple leaf, has provided freedom and glory for many a Canadian. Regardless of what you believe in history or not, it has provided sanctuary. It has given us a home. It's given us something bigger to fight for rather than your fucking egos, rather than your personal safety. Because you wouldn't have personal safety if it wasn't for people that sacrificed their lives to make sure that you were safe. My grandfather fought against real Nazis. And uncles that fought against real commies too. Yours truly fought against the Al-Qaeda and Taliban. And I buried some of the lads that were along with me too. Something to think about, eh? Anyway, enough of me ranting and rambling. I say I'll leave an article here in the description for you, ladies and gentlemen, so you can read along and decide for yourselves before I get too emotional. But we're getting into some territory here that's extremely totalitarian. Okay, doesn't matter if you have a mayor saying this, or a reeve saying that, or a premier, or a federal politician. Okay? Let people be. It's that simple. You don't have to go to these shows if you don't like them. If you disagree with this guy's opinion, well, so what? Are you going to lose sleep at night because you know there's somebody in the city singing a song about glory of God, or glory of this, or glory of that? Huh? What is going to happen to your life if this individual sings a song or two about Jesus Christ? that's going to happen to your life? Absolutely nothing. Right? To all these kids that protest and the adults that back them up, you deserve a slap around and a dose of reality. What sacrifices are made to make your lives comfortable. Something to think about, kids. Anyhow, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 27th of July, 2025. I wish good things all out there, even though I've almost threatened violence, but still, I do wish good things for people, all colors and creeds. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you believe in. I want you to get up in the morning and praise the day, kiss your wife, kiss your husband, kiss your kids, go to work, do your thing, and have a good time doing it. Okay? Just be realistic, just be calm, cool, and collected, and do your best to be a decent human being. That is all we can ask for right now. In these trying times, this economic uncertainty, let us try to be good people and try to be good to other people too. Look after your friends and loved ones in these trying times. Just try to be decent. And I will have another episode hopefully up in the next couple of days based on my schedule. But I will do my best to get the word and the gospel, no pun, out there for you in a timely manner. Just a reminder too, if you like and hear what you see, click like, subscribe, share this content over your social media platforms. Do not be shy. Links will be in the description if you just wanted to donate. Like I said, I'm working on a platform where I can get better donations in a timely manner. It won't be OnlyFans, but I will get something up there hopefully in the next couple of days. And like I say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
To your absent friends, brothers and sisters, I will always remember HUA. Heard, understood, acknowledged. Go up.